Good morning, Northern Hills Church family.
Good morning.
I didn't hear a good morning, Leah.
I did.
All right,
Yeah, I heard it.
cool. Okay, we just wanted to start these daily devotionals. Myself and the other elders, we've been looking for ways to connect with you all. So this is the first of our daily devotionals, and we're going to try and keep them short and sweet, so I'll get started. I just want to start out by reading Proverbs 9:10 through 12, and it says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is insight. For by me your days will be multiplied, and years will be added to your life. If you are wise for yourself. If you scoff, you alone will bear it." I was reading in a Table Talk magazine article by Burke Parsons this weekend, and he makes the statement, fear is a primal emotion so powerful that it can wreak havoc on our hearts. And then he posed a series of questions after he made that statement, and those are, what do we do with our fears? Do we wallow in the mire of fear, act as if we have no fear, attempt to hide our fear, or try to face our fears with sheer tenacity? Or do we turn to the Lord? And those questions prompted in me asking some questions of myself over the last couple weeks. Some questions that I've been kind of thinking about are, what or whom do I fear? And then where or in what do I place my hope in uncertain times? And I encourage you to ask those questions of yourself as well. Throughout the Bible, we see many statements related to fear and not fearing. We see statements such as do not fear, do not be afraid. We see do not let your heart be troubled. That or some form of not fearing we see hundreds of times throughout the scriptures. But the Bible also tells us to fear, and this is where we should stick out as Christians. We shouldn't be defined by our fears and our anxieties, clicking on every article that's posted 24/7 while wringing our hands or pulling out our hair. We need to bring our fears and anxieties to Him. The wind and the waves still obey Him. We see pictures and videos all the time with this COVID-19 stuff going on that can instill fear into people's hearts. But the reality is if we had a live feed of the throne room of God, you can be sure Jesus is still on the throne, seated at the right hand of the Father. So when I say the Bible tells us to fear, what do I mean by that? Well, it comes down to what type of fear and the object of our fear. I just want to look at those verses that I read at the beginning and go through those quickly. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. The type of fear here is speaking of a reverence or a respect, like a child to his father or mother, a child to a parent. So that's the type of fear it's referring to, and then its object is the Lord. So when we fear the Lord, when we revere the Lord, when we have respect for the Lord, He is able to give us wisdom. He's the beginning of wisdom. Ultimately, He's the only true source of wisdom. Special revelation, the Bible you hold in your hands, is the only ultimate source of truth. And everyone and everything has to submit to that truth. And then verse 11 says, "For by me your days will be multiplied, and years will be added to your life." Your days being multiplied can here refer to quantity or a chronological measure of our lives. And then years will be added to your life. That can refer to your quality of life. Certainly we don't believe that we're promised long and prosperous lives as Christians, but we know that ultimately the quantity and the quality of our lives is dependent on God. And that's how that verse starts, "For by me." So its source, the quantity and quality of your life, is dependent on God. And then verse 12 says, "If you are wise for yourself. If you scoff, you alone will bear it." You are wise for yourself in this verse. means it's for your benefit. So God gives you wisdom, and it's for your benefit. If you scoff, you will bear it alone, or you alone will bear it. Another way you could say this would be to say that you're on your own. And of course, we don't want to be on our own. We want to rely on God and receive wisdom from Him. We don't want to just, going back to verse 10, we don't want to just gain knowledge of God or about God. We want to continue on into understanding, and then we also want to apply it by wisdom. So that's what I wanted to share with you this morning. And I wanted to close by saying, for myself and on behalf of the other elders, we love you. This is just a weird time, but we're trying to love you as best as we can. We're praying for you. And if you have any prayer requests, you can go to the Northern Hills Church website. There's a tab on there that you can click and add prayer requests. If you've added one of those, just know that we are praying for you. And if you haven't added a prayer request, we're praying for you anyway, so you can't get around that. We miss you, and then we just want to let you know that we are striving for you. We're trying to come up with creative ways to connect with you all, and while being absent from each other, but ultimately just creative ways that we can ultimately point you to the Word and to the foot of the cross. And by creative, I don't mean we're trying to come up with new novel ideas. We're just trying to make best use of the technology we have, make best use of the things that we have available to us to continue to try to shepherd you. So with that, that was the end of our first daily devotional. Look forward to seeing you guys soon. All right, love y'all. Bye.